Hello, Marian Catholic students, parents, families, and community members. This is Principal Steve Tortorello with a mid-summer update about the school year schedule and structure for the upcoming 2020-2021 school year. This video is intended to be a broad overview of what we're going to do in this upcoming school year. It is not by any means a very specific in-the-weeds informational video. More information will be coming in coming weeks, and we'll be surveying you for input on other issues in the coming weeks. But this is meant to serve as a large-scale exploration of what we're going to be doing with the school year. And also just a reminder to everyone as well, everything is subject to change. As we like to joke about internally, the last 5 months and for the coming year, we've been building the airplane while we fly it. And we're going to do the best job and build the best airplane that we can, but some things might need to get changed mid-flight. And that's going to depend on the state of Illinois and the state of our country health-wise. So again, this video is meant as a general overview of how we're going to tackle school scheduling and safety and the structure of school for the 2020-2021 school year. First and foremost, safety. Safety is the most important and number one determining factor in all that we do. So everything that we've talked about here has all been through the lens of how can we educate kids and help them become part of the Marian community or continue in the Marian community safely. Safety has been our number one guiding principle here. At the same time, in addition to safety, we're also looking at how do we serve the needs of all of our various families? Because we surveyed you, students and parents, about 3 weeks ago about your take on some different models for doing the school year this upcoming year. And we asked for your input, your questions, etc. And throughout that process, we heard from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you guys, and we learned about what your needs are. And there are different families in very different boats. There are some families who, because they may have grandparents living in the home, or maybe someone in the family is immunocompromised, or just out of sheer caution, there are some families who are not comfortable with their student returning to a physical school building. They want to be part of the Marian community, they want to take their classes every day, but they're not comfortable and don't foresee themselves being comfortable by August with their student in the building every day. We have other families whose situation is such that they need their students out of the home. They need them to be able to go somewhere and be safe in that place. So the challenge for us is building a system that best serves the needs of every family, or as best as we can serve the needs of every family. In addition to our own internal committee, I myself and our president, Mr. Kredinsky, are part of several groups of high schools, both locally and across the country. I meet every Tuesday with the principals and presidents of every Catholic high school in the Archdiocese of Chicago. It's about 40 schools. We also meet on calls with Dominican schools. So we're a Dominican high school with Dominican high schools all across the country, as well as other schools throughout the country. And we're learning and trading ideas on these calls. And so from what we've heard of what other schools are developing, what we've developed internally, our mission is to take the best, whether we developed it or we learned it from somewhere else, and do the best and safest thing possible for our families. So in doing that, we've developed what the year will look like. First, a few notes on safety precautions. Number one, this school year, every student entering the building will be temperature checked. And if you're running a fever of 100 degrees or more, you will not come in the school building. You will not get on a school bus. We're also asking families to be diligent about this if you're able to at home as well. Right now, we're looking at potential symptom screening software, but we'll be sharing with all families what the known symptoms are of COVID. And if any students have a collection, if they hit a certain number of those symptoms, they're asked to stay home for the day. Now, this might be a little bit of a paradigm shift. We've all grown up, parents, you and us staff members, with the idea of the student who's maybe trying to fake a cold to not go to school. And our attitude is, get your butt on the bus and go to school. Well, that has changed. The new way of doing things for safety has to be, if it looks like someone might be sick, they stay home. Now, the nice wrinkle to that is just because they're staying home doesn't mean they won't be going to school, because school will be offered digitally for home as well. So any student that shows any type of symptom of COVID or any combination of COVID symptoms, we are asking that you keep them home, but we will be scanning temperatures at the door as well. Masks will be required of our students throughout the school day. This is the direct recommendation of the CDC and the Illinois Department of Public Health. Even though we are going to be using social distancing and spacing, it is masks that most greatly reduce the transmission of COVID per the research of CDC and the IDPH. So we'll be doing temperature checks, masks, social distancing throughout the building, which I'll explain in a moment. We are also updating our clinic here at school to make it a multi-room operation, including a room for quarantining students if they develop any COVID-like symptoms during the school day. So let's say that there's a student who comes into the building and he or she does not test over 100 and they've indicated no symptoms, but by fifth period of the school day, they are running a fever and they feel slightly ill. We have a room in which to quarantine those students to await parent pickup. So that is something that we'll have as well. We're also exploring different options for traveling in our hallways. As we know from the guidance from the state, the greatest threat to virus transmission is when you have large groups of people clustered. Even if they're wearing masks, large clusters of people significantly increases the threat of transmission of the virus. So we will be working to minimize the way our students walk through the hallways so as not to be in large clusters throughout the day. We'll share more information about that as we go throughout the summer and finalize those exact plans, but we will be minimizing the number of kids in the hallway at any given time and the directions in which they walk so as to minimize those large groups. We're also not yet finalized on, but working towards a solution for lunch. This is another time during the school day where normally you'd have 350 students crammed into our leadership center, all around tables, right around each other, eating, talking, goofing around, etc. Obviously, that is not going to be possible during a COVID time. So we're looking at a few different options, including eating in classrooms or letting limited numbers of students eat in the leadership center within the guidelines of the state, or also possibly procuring a tent. So when the weather is appropriate, the kids can eat outside, outdoors. Transmission of the virus is much less plausible than it is indoors in a confined space with kids. There'd still need to be distancing and things like that, but we're looking at several lunch options as well. We're also going to be doing increased cleaning. You will see in the school building that we have wall-mounted hand sanitizer in every room and every area of the school now, and we will be doing our fog machine disinfecting of every room of the school every day. We're also going to be introducing cleaning regimens between classes. So for example, at the end of second period, for example, the last 30 seconds might be every kid in that classroom taking out a Clorox wipe, wiping down their desk, the teacher wiping down the door handles before kids go to move to another room. So we will have regularized cleaning procedures during the day and after school. So that's all on the safety and cleanliness end. Now, the structure end is the meat and potatoes of today's video. Again, as I said earlier, there are so many different needs of families that we need to serve, and we've developed a model that we believe best serves all those needs. In order to maintain social distancing and make sure that kids are present for many days a week in the school building, because we believe that that is incredibly important, we have developed a system by which we are going to split the student body in half, essentially. We'll have group 1 and group 2. And on day 1, let's say Monday, group 1 will be internal, group 2 will be external, but they will all be taking and participating in the same class. For example, let's say there's an algebra class with 24 kids. On Monday, 12 kids will be in the room physically with the teacher, probably 4 rows of 3 or 3 rows of 4 well spread apart in the classroom. The other 12 kids will be watching and participating live in class via video at home. Our teachers' lessons will all be operated from their iPad, and it'll be projected to all of the kids' screens, whether they're in the room or at home, and on the screen of the projector in the room. Our teachers will be mic'd in such a way that every student will be able to hear them very clearly. So a teacher may have 12 students in front of him or her and a screen with the other 12 students' video feeds. And so any student can ask a question, any student can contribute to the chat. Work being turned in will happen through the iPad digitally, so the kids at home can do it at the exact same time as the kids who are in the room. Let's say that's Monday. On Tuesday, they simply switch. The 12 kids who are in the room go home and they work externally. The 12 kids who were external on the first day are now internal. But all kids are taking the same class at the same time. Every kid will be in the building every other day. Now, let's say you're one of those families with a health situation at home, or you want to be cautious and you don't want your student being part of the school building physically, but you want them in class every single day. Easily enough, they simply participate live from home every day until your family feels comfortable with the student returning from school. This way, your student who's staying home is not robbed of any quality of education. They are in the same class doing the same thing. Some other schools are doing models where school is different for those kids that stay home versus those kids that come in. We don't think that's fair. Every kid gets the same education. They hear the same thing from the teacher. They turn in the same assignment. They're assigned to groups to discuss things digitally with the other kids in groups. Everything is the same, regardless of what your family's comfort level is with physically being in the building. That is our model. Again, there are some smaller details to work out and some things to share. We will be asking families in the coming weeks, likely by the end of July, how comfortable are you? Do you want your student coming in every other day? Would you like your student to stay at home? And based on your preferences, we will work on grouping the students. Now, it might not be as clean as I described it here. A class of 24 might not be able to divide evenly into 12 and 12. It might be 14 and 10. Depending on the way it works with those kids going to different classes throughout the day. But we'll be working to divide those groups so that every kid will be able to be in the building every other day if they're comfortable doing so. And every kid who is not able to be in the building will never miss out on a moment of instruction at home. That is our pledge to families. We are starting school on August 17th with our freshmen, and the rest of our classes are scheduled to start on August 19th. We are still determining we might push back the rest of the school, the sophomores, juniors, and seniors, by a few days to give our freshmen more time in school, because we believe that the freshmen need that acclimation. They need to understand the folk ways of Marian, as Mr. Hennigan likes to say, and the scheduling and get to know their teachers, etc. So we will update you as we finalize how that will look in mid-August. But freshmen will start without a doubt on Monday, August 17th. Now, another thing that's important to address is e-learning itself. What happens if Illinois, which has been on a good trajectory the last month or so, what happens if that turns around? If the virus washes back into the Chicago area from these other areas of the country? There is a chance we may end up on e-learning again, and we are prepared for that. In the event that we end up on e-learning, we are ready on a day-to-day basis to switch all kids to being at home, continuing those same classes as we discussed live with the teacher. If we go to e-learning, we will likely migrate to the system we used this past spring, which would be class on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and office hours on Wednesday for students to check in and work with the teachers one-on-one or in small groups for help. But we will be ready to go to e-learning on the drop of a dime if it is necessary, and then come back again when it is safe. Again, we will be reaching out with more specifics as we get further into the summer, but we felt it was important for you to know all of this up front, to know that there is a plan and what the plan is, and our goal is to accommodate every family's needs. Normally, in midsummer, we would have what's called Schedule Pickup Day. This year it was scheduled for July 24th. And on that day, students would come in to take their ID pictures, pick up their schedules, pick up a lot of other information. Obviously, it is not safe to run 950 students through the Leadership Center as we normally would. So that will all be digital this year. Next week, your students' schedule for 2020-21 will become live on PowerSchool. And based on that schedule, you'll know what classes your student will be in. Students, if you have any issues, if you signed up for a class that you don't see on your schedule or there's an error of some sort, simply reach out to your guidance counselor, and your guidance counselors will work to correct those in the coming weeks. We will follow up again with more information about student IDs and things like that as we go, but Schedule Pickup Day is now digital. Your schedule will be live next week. Again, stay tuned for more information in the coming weeks, but we wanted everyone to have this midsummer so you knew what was coming and knew what we were planning to do. If there are more questions, when we reach out to survey you, we will have spaces for questions to be answered. But in the meantime, if you'd like, you can always email us or call if there are questions or concerns that you have, but please do stay tuned for more. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for your continued support of Marian, and we look forward to seeing our students again here in the building, to welcoming them, even if it's a different way than the past, even if it's a new normal. We're really excited to see people in the building and to get Marian going again for 2020-21. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy summer, and we'll be in touch again soon. Well, I'm back. Of course, I forgot a few things, and I'm not going to re-record the whole 15-minute video, so I'll just drop in a few more tidbits for you. One angle I forgot to mention about our structure for this fall with the internal and external days is that we will be setting up public seating options essentially for our kids when it is their external day. So for example, let's say your student's internal day was Monday and their external day is Tuesday. you could still bring them to school, or they could still come to school on Tuesday. We will have desks in the study hall, the library, and some of the other public areas in groups smaller than 50 and socially distanced apart, where a student could complete their schoolwork. Even though they're external, they might not be in the classroom, they might be simply in the study hall or the library. And so that is an option too. So if you're part of a carpool or a family where you need your students to be here every day, we can provide that option where they could do their external beaming into class, even just from another part of this building, even if we're just limiting the number of kids in the classroom. So that's number one. And number two, our Spartan shop will be open the week of July 20th throughout the mornings. They'll be doing social distancing in small groups, but if you need to get new or replacement dress code items or anything else, Spartan Shop will be open. You can call for more information or watch your email. There should be an email coming out with that info as well. So just wanted to add those things in. And again, stay tuned for more information from us later on. Thanks, everybody.